All right, mic check 1 2. Turn my headphones up. Yeah, so it took almost a week for gubernatorial race results in Arizona, and of course, it went to the Democrat Katie Hobbs, who refused to debate, which of course makes perfect sense now. And that's not really what this is all about, but I want to start here because look, I tried to just ignore it and let it go and, move on, but it's just such a slap in the face what they're doing with this. They prime us, they tell us, oh, it's going to take a week and this is all normal. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't remember it taking this long in my younger years, but as we know, in 2016, the establishment decided never again. They were going to do whatever it is that they have to do, whether that's tell people the air is too dangerous to breathe, you can't go outside, we're going to burn down cities, we're going to cut the junk off kids, we're going to stage a late night hammer fight. Whatever has to be done, they're going to do it. And of course, Katie Hobbs, who is the Secretary of State, is now Arizona governor-elect. Sounds like Kari Lake is not conceding, but there's also something to be said for the fact that the local Fox affiliate ran results early. Katie Hobbs, obviously she's the Secretary of State, so she's overseeing the whole thing, and that's what this I guess truth or tweet or parlor or whatever from Dominic Izzo, and I want to get to that, but really quickly, there's also this article. Of course, it's a pizza commercial right now, but Arizona's election may not be decided for days. Thousands of ballots left to be counted in Maricopa County. And this was on November 11th. So this was 2 days after Election Day. They were already priming you. And while it's all a whole bunch of nonsense about how this is just all normal and don't worry about it, there's one very important, a multi-day counting process is completely normal in Arizona. Yeah, I mean, the gaslighting is through the roof. And of course, if you don't agree, you will be considered an extremist, racist, all that stuff, right? But what I think is most important here and what might be getting overlooked is this small little bit here. It is offensive. Election officials respond to Kari Lake's criticism. So the people who are conducting, doing the counting are offended by something that Kari Lake said. So are we to believe for one split second that these people are going to be able to put that aside and remain professional while they're counting the votes in an election that she is in versus the Secretary of State, who of course is kind of, I don't want to say controlling, but overseeing the election? So I don't know. There's a number of things that are very fishy. I'm not going to just jump out the window and always scream about, irregularities, and there's certain words that I think you still can't say, which, for the record, I was suspended for a couple days for a video from January, and I won the appeal, so here I am back on YouTube after a phony misinformation suspension, which was after the results were already announced. So I don't really know. I don't really have too many conspiracies except for that they just hate the truth. That's pretty simple. So I've got a bunch of Instagram posts that I've just been saving up for, I don't know, the last week or so, and it's all completely insane. So let's get to that. And just actually really quickly, before we get to all the Instagram posts, when Katie Hobbs announced that she was not going to debate, that should have been a that should have been a dead giveaway, right? I mean, I don't have to tell these people about my platform. They're gonna go for it anyways, and if they don't, we're gonna just call them election deniers, right? And she propped up Kari Lake. Katie Hobbs, that is, propped up Kari Lake in the primaries because she knew that the election denier fraud, the election denier smear, the election denier smear that they've been throwing around all over the place to anybody who doesn't agree, was going to fit like a glove after Hobbs, eventually came away with the quote-unquote victory. So it's all bogus. Katie Hobbs can win in Arizona, just like a man with brain damage can win in Pennsylvania, just like a man can win a beauty pageant, just like a man can win Woman of the Year, just like a man can beat women at swimming, or a man can smash a girl's face with a volleyball, or an MMA, or whatever it is, right? This all boils down to the same thing, just a complete denial of reality, right? I mean, nobody's going to tell me. And looking back at the interviews now of Katie Hobbs, I don't want to debate her because she's an election denier and I don't want to prop up her views. It all makes perfect sense now. It was fishy from the beginning. It didn't make sense. Even CNN called her out. But now it all falls into place, and it totally makes 100% sense. So let's go back to the post here, because this is where I wanted to start. This is kind of what I guess started that entire little rant there. But if a Republican refused to debate and refused to recuse themselves from overseeing the very ballot counting process for the race they were in and won, the state would be set on fire right now by liberal Democrats. Every one of you knows this. This is from Dominic Izzo. I don't know too much about this guy, but he seems pretty cool. And this is 100% true, right? This is what's happening, and this is why it was such a slap in the face. And there's another great one from our good buddy Huey Media. This Kari Lake versus Katie Hobbs election will go down as one of the most blatant rigged jobs in election history, if history is told honestly, right? I mean, fair point. It's truly at the point they don't even care to hide it anymore. And then he's got the little thread emoji. So let's see if we can... where's the little clicker so we can slide over? Wait, no. I don't want to... No, that's the next post. I just want to go to the next slide, and I can't really see where the arrow is. There it is. Okay. First and foremost, even MSN admitted that at the very least there were some, quote, glitches and, quote, issues with the machines. Now let's look at social media. And I made this point very early on because Katie Hobbs has gained... She's up to 12, almost, in this screenshot, obviously, 12.6K. When I first screenshot Katie Hobbs' Instagram, she had like 4,000 followers, while Kari Lake was doing like 300,000. So we're not talking about a small discrepancy. And again, I realize that that social media following doesn't equal victory at the ballot box, but come on, we're talking about, I mean, thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on social media alone. That's Instagram, Twitter, 159,000 versus Kari's. She has 696,000. So almost 700,000 versus 160,000. 14,000 on Facebook for Katie versus 247,000 for Kari. This is Don Lemon calling out Katie Hobbs, and she's an election denier. And this was the moment we all should have knew. Like I said, I knew it was fishy from the start, but we all should have known that she was going to be installed anyways, right? And like I always say, there's two big asks, right? Once you can get people to believe that a man can be a woman and vice versa, you have complete control of their thoughts. You can make them they'll buy anything, right? They'll buy the farm. And it's the same thing with Joe Biden. Once you can install Joe Biden in the most powerful position arguably in the world, then a governor's race is easy. It's light work. As cowardly of a move as it was for Katie Hobbs not to publicly debate Kari Lake, it makes a lot more sense now, considering that there's no need to debate. Why debate when you'll just get installed regardless? Exactly. If you're going to rig it, you would think they would at least try to make it believable that it was close, give her a great media coverage, artificially inflate her social media accounts, at least do something to make this quote-unquote close race believable. We've gotten to the point with, and this is the one I really like a lot, I posted this slide to my story, we've gotten to the point with U.S. elections where they're pretty much telling us we rigged it, what are you going to do about it? And that's exactly what it is. It's a power play. You can't do anything. Not only if you even speak about it, you'll be banned, you'll be suspended, but if you actually try to do something about it, then you're called an extremist and they're going to put you in jail in solitary confinement for years while other people were allowed to burn down the country, and we can always beat that hypocrisy horse into a pace. That two-tier justice system, that I'm always screaming about. So, in summary, we're supposed to believe the voting machine glitches were a coincidence. The candidate that has significantly less followers and refused to debate won. It's totally normal for Arizona results to take a week when other states were known the same day. Yeah. So, shout out Huey Media and a shout out to Dominic Izzo here with the great takes and, getting us started here because, like I said, I was trying to ignore this, but it's just impossible. And then when you go back to this article, it all makes sense because this is icing on the cake that neither one of those guys even mentioned, but it's just another grain of sand making a heap. It's offensive. Election officials, the people conducting this election are quote unquote offended by Kari Lake. And we're just supposed to believe that they were able to take it in stride and it all makes sense. All of those mistakes, all of those glitches, everything that only works in one direction, it's all on the level. And if you don't shut up about it, then we're going to ban you from social media and maybe throw you in jail or whatever. So that's just where I had to get started because I was, like I said, I just wanted so badly to leave it alone, but I couldn't. But there's a lot of other insanity here. Let me see here. Oh. I want to. There we go. All right. I want to put my. I feel better on this side. I just was over there so you could read that. But there's a lot going on, obviously. And these are just, like I said, posts that I've saved up for the last week or so. This one's actually brand new. I guess it's better for me to be on this side anyways. All right. I don't know who George Cheedy is, but it looks like Young Thug, obviously switching gears here from the hardcore political stuff to these troubled rappers. The state says it will be calling 300 witnesses during the YSL trial and may require 3.5 months. Judge Glanville thinks it will take longer. Probably 6 to 9 months is what he says down there at the bottom. So it's not looking. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. So it's not looking good for Thug. At one point they were saying that Gunna was going to get out. I don't know, but look, I got nothing against Young Thug. He hasn't been good for a while. It's like the old saying goes, like they're good when they're hungry. Once you reach a certain level, you kind of stop being good. With few exceptions. Shout out Ye. But the first couple mixtapes were fire, the first album's fire, and then it all went downhill from there. And then when you go back and you listen to some of this stuff, it's like, oh man, like they were really living this. Because it's all, you always just think it's entertainment, right? Like that's why these rappers are always in movies because they're actors. Like you want it, like you don't really think it's all gonna be real, but apparently some of this stuff was real, and he's paying for it now. And they also, I think they're trying to take down Lil Baby's crew. Of course, YFN Lucci, who was Thug's rival, went down before him. So bad news for Thug. So there's the Dominic Izzo post. Here we go. There's a couple from Vice here because I just love Vice news so much. Cities are teaching drug users how to shoot up properly. Okay, so they're again. Here we are, not even hiding it, right? It used to just be like, oh, we're gonna decriminalize it and you could smoke weed on the street. Now they're basically doing everything except for selling you the drugs themselves, which, again, might actually be happening, just not directly. You know what I mean? Right? Like, these people, these politicians have some stake in this trade, in my humble opinion. There's no other reason they would be doing this. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart, kind of like we see with the Rona juice, right? Oh, it's free, go get it. Well, so are we to believe that the guys at Pfizer and Moderna were just working diligently, slaving over a hot stove to keep you safe for free? No. But Vice News says here in the caption, cities are training drug users how to shoot up properly and achieve the high they're seeking as they grapple with an increasingly toxic drug supply. So, of course, it was just, okay, just let them smoke weed. Oh, just let them do mushrooms. Then it was, okay, get your free needles. Then it was, come get your drugs tested for fentanyl. And now it's, we're going to show you exactly how to do this. That's what's happening here. What we learned really quickly when we started working with people who use drugs is that everything they learn about drug use, usually comes from their peers, the internet, TV, movies, and it's all wrong. What? They're learning how to use drugs from their friends and it's wrong, so come to the government and we'll teach you how to properly use drugs? Is that what's happening here? Insanity. And injecting drugs properly has only become more important as overdoses reach record highs and drugs like Trank, which we saw in last week's video that I looked at with Savannah Hernandez in Philadelphia. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Trank, but clearly it's a thing, which has been linked to skin ulcers, amputations, and continues to spread across the U.S. Knowing what to do can also help empower younger drug users, women, and queer people who might find themselves particularly vulnerable in certain situations. I'm surprised they didn't just say people of color, like, oh, the black junkies need help shooting up their dope. This is absolute insanity from Vice News. And they're not holding back. They're like, we want you drugged up. Because when you have a generation of people who are using drugs safely, according to them, they're not going to care about, what kind of backdoor dealings, puppetry is going on behind the curtain and all these weird election irregularities, all that stuff. You're not going to care anything about that. Now, of course, you could have just done that with just getting people, to smoke weed all day, but they've taken it to another level. More from Vice. Let's see.
The Black Robe Regiment.
This pastor is a far-right extremist and proud of it. Okay, so this growing movement of far-right extremists, they beat this term into an absolute paste. It's ridiculous, right? It doesn't mean anything, just like racism and homophobia, bigotry. It's all just nothing. It just means somebody who's not going to obey our strange demands to, ignore all of the fraud and let us cut the junk off kids. That is, if we're even able to birth them, right? Because ideally, we would rather get rid of the kids before they're even born. We can, pay our sacrifice that way. But if you can't make that happen, go ahead and birth the little guy and then cut his junk off. I digress. I'm getting a little bit off track here, but the point I'm making is that far-right extremists is just, it's throwaway. It doesn't mean anything, especially coming from Vice News.
What it's become today is pastors who are willing to fight politically. We're not afraid to speak from the pulpit on the subject. It's not our focal point, but it is something that we will talk about, especially when you get around to election times. Describe the moment we're in the country. That would be a tremendous amount of turmoil, and it's because of the lack of God.
That's true. I believe that to be true. And he hasn't said anything crazy so far.
We have our new president. We had a lot of people focused on what could potentially be happening as far as election fraud is concerned. There was a lot going on there, including a ton of grifting. We put ourselves in the far right extreme. When you're a King James...
Okay, so there it is. He labels himself that. So that's why, and they love that. They're like, oh, he said it himself. So we can just say it. He's so far right, he's extreme. It's like, dude, he labeled himself that. And this is what I talk about on the podcast too with Andrew, Unauthorized Opinions podcast with Andrew Says on Sundays at 3 p.m. Arizona time or 5 p.m. Eastern. But I think the only thing that is far right is somebody that reads the Bible to these people. Like if they look to the Bible and they might try to follow that, which nobody can do perfectly, but if they even try, that's basically far right extremists. There's nothing else. It has really nothing else to do with any other issue. It's just like if you believe in God, that basically makes you the most far right you could possibly be.
Only as fundamental Baptists, you are as far extreme as you can possibly imagine. We believe that marriage is only a man and woman. Abortion, we don't believe, we separate ourselves from the people that are pro-life because they will say, well, there are instances where it's okay. We believe in abolition, abolish abortion altogether.
Yeah, see that, oh, that's so extreme. Whoa, that's crazy. It's really not that extreme. It's just like, I don't believe in that. I don't want to do that. It's not that crazy, but of course, Vice News.
Rape and incest is not an excuse to kill a baby. The child is innocent still in that instance. So it's a sad situation, but to say that it's okay to kill another life, we don't have that in us. We also are opposed to contraceptives in general. Married couples should have babies, lots of them. The way that our world has become an antithesis to the nuclear family.
How many of your posts and sermons appear to target Jewish people?
Target Jewish people. Judaism is a religion. It's an antichrist religion. The Black Robe.
Okay, So that was so extreme. He's proud of it. Like it's people just aren't allowed to have their own views. Of course, they're not allowed to have their own opinions. They're not allowed to have their own thoughts. That's the problem we're dealing with here. That's why I had a video removed from January in a strike. But shout out YouTube and Susan for reversing that strike. Here's some from the Daily Beast. This is obviously trash. Anybody who continues to believe that the Daily Beast is, we all know, right? But look how they frame this. GOP gets its consolation prize, a bare bones House majority. Can they ever write a regular news article that's not just blatantly trashing one side of the political aisle? You can't, once you do stuff like this, you can't go forward and then pretend like, would the Daily Beast pretend that they're actual news and not a Democratic Party, propaganda rag? It would be impossible. The GOP has officially met its bare minimum benchmark for this election, taking control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Much hyped Republican red wave is proven to be a resounding bust. Whatever. It's all absolute nonsense. And we know why this red wave. Look, like I said, once you get they basically cut the head off the snake. Once they install Joe Biden, everything else is easy. Once you can say, oh, yeah, like, oh, I'm actually a woman, everything else is easy. I'll say it 1,000,000 times. What else we got? This guy from Tim Pool, I don't even remember watching this. Let's do it now.
The federal government is terminally broken, right? 4 years where he was going to drain the swamp.
I don't know if it's broken. I think it's actually working exactly how they want it to. But let's continue.
The swamp is deeper than it's ever been, right? Our lives are still controlled under 180,000 pages of federal laws, rules, and regulations administered by 440 separate agencies and 2.5 million unelected federal bureaucrats, right? The federal debt has gone up to the point now that our children's children are still going to be paying on it, right? So nothing got done. Our tax money is being taken, paid to overpaid civil servants. Most of them make more than the governor of our state, right? Where that money in turn is funneled back into Democratic coffers that are out there now openly pushing neo-Marxist theory and philosophy as public policy. So he can promise whatever he wants to promise, but at the end of the day, the federal system, anything connected to it, is going to be tainted just like it is, and we might as well be tethered to the Titanic headed to the bottom of the North Atlantic.
Okay, yeah, so that is true. Most of that is true, but like I said, I think it's actually working exactly how they designed it to work and like oppress us as people, as corny as that sounds. And I don't even know who this guy is, but yeah, and they've got us into this point where you literally can't do anything about it, right? That's what Huey was saying, was that, we're going to take this election and you can't do anything about it. If you say anything about it, you're banned. If you try to do anything about it, jail. This is the system. This is the people that we're going with, and you will obey them. That's why a man is a woman, right? That's why brain dead Fetterman. No, look, I don't know. I don't know anything about Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz was a terrible candidate, so that's a different situation. But as far as Arizona is concerned, there's just no way. Yeah, so that was the that's the good take from Huey. Good job on that. We already spoke about that. This one's crazy, but it's totally predictable. And it looks like people even in the comments, they know what's up. San Francisco launches transgender guaranteed income program. It's all absolute nonsense. Obviously, the first thing that you have to say is, okay, well, I'm transgender. Boom, give me the money. It's so incredibly stupid. And I think it's going to end up just like all of Joe Biden's stupid things that don't work. It's just a press release that they do to trick people. So, and then Hochul declared, transgender month or something in New York at the same time. It's all stupid. They have to push the agenda. But yeah, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, well, just say you're transgender. It doesn't matter, right? You don't, it's all in your head, right? You don't have to prove, you don't have to say, well, I guess, no, you do have to say, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to grow your hair. You don't have to cut your junk off. You don't have to wear women's, it's just all in your head, whatever you say. And of course you have to obey the rest of the commands, right? That's the main catch is like, You don't have to do anything really except for say you're transgender and then obey all of the other commands. Then we might think about getting you this money. But like I said, this is going to be decree by press release. That's not going to work. Just like the eviction moratorium, just like the student loan debt, just like the juice mandate, it's all going to get challenged and it's going to go backwards, and they're going to pretend like it never happened because there, for better or for worse, there is still some sort of law that actually happens, but these people just throw it at the wall, make you think it's, they're treating you like a dog, right? Like if you're playing, fetch with a dog and then you fake out the dog and he thinks you threw it, but you still have it. That's exactly what's happening here.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot launched.
Oh, this Lightfoot commercial. I heard a lot about this, but I actually haven't watched it yet. So this will be the first time actually watching it all the way through. I don't even know how long it is.
Launches a plan creating thousands.
Has Lightfoot done anything?
Given the mess she was dealt, Lori's delivering.
Given the mess she was dealt, who's she blaming?
Chicago's #1 for corporate expansion and ranked best American city. She even got 5,000 new Google jobs. And she was cool during COVID.
Hey, did you order thousands of new jobs and a pepperoni?
I told you she delivers.
Mayor Lori.
Wow, so it's only like 20 seconds or whatever, and that is crazy how stupid they think you are. Like, that is insane how stupid they think people are. Does this still work? I think they just do this to supplement cheating, right? So they can high five themselves, do a little circle jerk and pretend like, yeah, like everybody loves us. That's why we keep winning. Didn't you see this great ad we put out? But we're not all that stupid. But yeah, maybe delivering pizza might be a better fit. Okay, that's true. Some people, there's a heart. It looks like there's some clapping emojis. I love her commercials. I guess this is real. I don't know. Lori has a great sense of humor. This can't be real. This is like Andrew Cuomo's hang on one second. Comment bot section before he was a sexual predator, a sexual deviant, got kicked out of office for that, which is not really why I got kicked out of office, but that his comment section was all filled with bots. Like, everybody just loved it. And I'm like, there's no way, bro. There's literally no way that people love this so much. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. That's me watching me. Anyways, so I don't know. It seems like there might be some bots. I don't want to go too tinfoil hat, but like, I highly doubt that people are actually buying this and think that she's doing a great job. This was a good one from Topher. GOP House Republicans have opened an investigation into Biden and his family's dealings. Not one person from the Biden family will be arrested and or serve justice. It's all a facade and waste of time. So yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't think anybody for a split second thinks that Joe Biden is going to, face consequences, or anybody in his family is going to face any consequences. But I don't know. Part of me does. If it were real, if it were real, it would totally be worth it. But he's right. It's not real. Nothing's going to happen. It's probably just a waste of money and a waste of time. And he does caption it. Just like Hillary didn't go to jail. They know nothing is going to come from this, and we shouldn't entertain it. Go fix our election process. Yeah, so that's good. Do I think that Joe Biden and his family should just be allowed to get away scot-free? Absolutely not. But we all know that the Republicans aren't going to do it. And even if the Republicans tried, it would literally launch us into like phase 3, perhaps, of this war that we're already in. This is, I think, a good one. Spike in concealed carry applications forces East Bay Sheriff's Office to hire additional staff, so that some sort of Supreme Court ruling that knocked down some weird gun laws in New York and California. Now people are like, yeah, I want to get that concealed carry. I still recommend you move to a different state where you don't have to worry about any of this government red tape anyways, because we all know you're going to wait for months and you're going to pay a couple $100 and they're going to say no. So you're going to pay the money. You're still not going to get the permit. And they're going to say, oh, well, and then they're just going to have some stupid, it's never going to work. It's just like the Republicans saying that they're going to investigate the Biden family. It's never going to work. It's going to be the same, shenanigans. Oh, this one's really good. This is actually one of my favorite because, of course, it is Trans Awareness Week happening right now, right? How exciting. So, so amazing. Honoring Trans Awareness Week. What does it mean to lovingly invest in our Black TGNCIQ community? Who knows what that means? Will they tell us in the caption? Today marks the start of Trans Awareness Week, and as we reconcile the state of the world today, we are contemplating the concept of safety. We are asking ourselves, what makes people feel safe? How do we ensure that Black, trans, gender nonconforming, intersex, and non-binary folks have access to this feeling of safety? Who is making decisions about our Black TGNCIQ people's lives? What needs to change and how do we do it? What does it mean to lovingly invest? This is all absolute nonsense. Are we just supposed to know what transgender national who knows? Who knows what this means? It's all absolute nonsense. This is from Movement for Black Lives. I guess this is like some sort of BLM affiliate. I don't know. It's ridiculous. And so they didn't. I don't even know if that would be able to, like, we could find that. They literally just made that up right now. I don't even know if you can Google search in any of that. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. What is it? TGNCIQ. What? An abbreviation for transgender nonconforming, intersex, queer. Okay. All right. This just is never going to stop, is it? Ridiculous. Oh, here. Okay, yeah. Last one on the election, on the Arizona election, I should say. Katie Hobbs is Arizona's Secretary of State and running for governor of Arizona and is overseeing all the voting machine issues taking place in Maricopa County and won't recuse herself or withdraw from the election. So, yeah, a good meme right there. It's like, this is how stupid they think we are. Oh, my favorite. I've done multiple videos about these guys. New York City Health Commission, complete fraud, scam artists. It looks like they actually have, is this like a transgender color theme? A booster that targets the COVID-19 variant's bullseye. They just can't stop. They cannot stop. This is their bread and butter. Now, of course, we're going to see shortly here the transition, no pun intended, from government, this is all free and healthy and safe and you got to do it or you can't go to work, to it's going to cost you $100 and you got to get it at a pharmacy. That's what's they're working on, is transitioning it to the private industry. And we got a little bit more about there's a certain community that is so impoverished and downtrodden and oppressed. And, they're talking about, obviously, Kanye, Kyrie, now Dave Chappelle made some jokes about Kanye and Kyrie on Saturday Night Live. So everybody's mad at Dave now, too, because he shouldn't have even been on SNL because he's a transphobe and he made some trans jokes. But now he made some jokes about Jews, and that's not good either. So Dave just can't win. This is from Hollywood Unlocked. Anti-Defamation League CEO calls out SNL for popularizing anti-Semitism after Dave Chappelle monologue. So first of all, Kanye is not the first person to say what he said. Kyrie's not, even though he didn't even say anything. He just tweeted a link because we all can see the clips of Charlemagne. I mean, look, it's not new, right? This is not new. We all know about Hollywood and the media and banking and real estate and all that stuff. It's not new, but you can't say it because like Dave said, if they're black, it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. If they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you shouldn't say anything about it. And this is the same thing that we see with the political establishment. They have a similar hold on us as a population to the point where you cannot question anything we do or say. Otherwise, we will ruin your life. And this guy, Jonathan Greenblatt, who is pretty extreme as they come, as far as just anybody who doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, he's very extreme. I can't pinpoint it, but he said some pretty crazy things about, like, oh, you know, the Trump supporters are all Nazi. This is the type of guy to call Ben Shapiro a Nazi. We shouldn't expect Dave Chappelle to serve as a society's moral compass, but disturbing to see SNL not just normalize but popularize anti-Semitism. Why are Jewish sensitivities denied or diminished at almost every turn? Why does our trauma trigger applause? What, dude? It was a joke, and you're just crying about it. And as I understand it, they didn't know what he was going to say. He kind of pulled an audible at the line of scrimmage, so shout out Dave. I think that's what happened. Oh, yeah. More Rona propaganda. Moderna says new booster increases protection against variants, blah, blah, blah. It's like they never stop, bro. Oh, this is Miro. I'm going to skip that one and we'll go back because this one just... Miro, this is super sad to see, okay? Because Miro used to be a funny comedian, like independent, you know, doing the Bodega Boys podcast, from the YouTube channel to Complex to even Vice was still kind of funny. And then Showtime, it completely fell off. And now he's at MSNBC pandering with this guy who may or may not be of a certain ethnic or religious group. I'm not quite sure. Doesn't matter. Who panders to black people every night by saying rap lyrics. And look, Miro, look, dog. Bro, you did it. You won. This is the epitome of selling out. Like, if you remember, I actually saw Jesus and Miro at the Apollo in Harlem many years ago when they were still funny and still, like, you know, saying, you know, keep, for lack of a better term, just like keeping it real with the people that they came up with. They were performing in Harlem. Now he's on MSNBC pandering with a blatant establishment propagandist. So super sad to see. This is just the epitome of a sellout. Okay. And Miro, for the record, has for years now, I mean, I'm talking going on a decade, joked about how he has a Jewish wife. I'm sure there's no correlation there. Yeah, more propaganda. Tina Kotek joins Maura Healey as first lesbian governors in the U.S. Okay, and then you got Lori Lightfoot, but she's just a mayor, and this matters because what? Because they're not good at their job. So they have to say that they're good at something. Like this is their participation trophy because they're probably, look, I don't know who these people are, but governor in Oregon. Yeah, they're never gonna do anything. They're gonna live up in their, you know, I'm sure she has a gorgeous house or a high-rise condo or whatever, but maybe not the entire state, but Portland, they're never gonna fix any of that stuff. But they are lesbians, so you know. Have credit for that, I guess. This is a good one from the Mises Caucus, like Libertarian, the Libertarian Party, I guess, Human Action. Everyone's anti-war until the war propaganda starts, which is totally true. Virtually everyone will tell you they love peace and hate war. War is the very worst thing in the world, and no healthy person relishes in the thought of it. But when the rubber meets the road and it's time to oppose war and push for peace, those who previously proclaimed themselves anti-war are on the other side screaming for more weapons to be poured into a proxy war that their government deliberately provoked. This is because the theory of being anti-war is very different from the practice. Yes, that's true. And that's why we saw, you know, the weird propaganda, you know, zombie bots all talking about they stand with Ukraine because the television told them to. Those are the same people that, you know, okay, not literally, but basically wanted to ban people from society if they didn't get a certain pharmaceutical. And then when that kind of went by the wayside and we were doing, you know, save Ukraine, they were all about it. Like, let's do it. More weapons. And then we can still completely ignore the awful Afghanistan pullout. Biden's student loan forgiveness program struck down by federal judge. Yes. So this is this is just what happens over and over again, right? They just rule by press release. So they say these things, and you know you're gonna get out and you're gonna go vote for me, even though they're gonna take care of that themselves anyways. But they just say these things to convince you that they're trying to do something. The same thing with the we're gonna pardon all the weed offenses, which released absolutely zero people from detainment because it's all fake. So yeah, eviction moratorium, student loan forgiveness, Rona juice, the weed thing, all of these things they just say, but then it's not actually true. They're constantly, it's like there was another thing too back when they used to talk about reparations. We're going to invest in a study. We're going to invest in a study to see if people should get reparations, which means we're just going to take more money and then come back in a couple years and say, oh no, it doesn't work. So it's all completely fake. Oh, then we got the climate stuff, the climate propaganda, good times. Climate photos that changed the world. Oh, dead giraffes, giant detached icebergs, a family fleeing a fire almost neck deep in water. These are some climate photos that changed the world. Climate photos, just like climate denier, just like election denier. They just make up these weird, it's all about changing the language, gender affirming care. I mean, it never ends. Oh, seen as the defining image of the fires that ravaged Australia in 2013. This photo shows a woman and her 5 grandchildren taking refuge in the water under a jetty. The bushfire... Dead giraffes. Oh, climate. Oh, climate. Oh, the climate is changing. Look at this old lady. This image of an 81-year-old Panayota... I don't know. An old Greek woman. Look, this is Nancy Pelosi was 82. Joe Biden is 79. This is like, imagine this woman doing governmental jobs, right? That's what basically we're dealing with now. This image of 81-year-old Greek woman on the island of Evia has become an unforgettable symbol of the destruction wrought by the 2021 disaster. Oh, the climate. Won't somebody please think of the climate? How dare you just pay more in taxes? If we paid a little bit more money, it would all go away. Insanity. This is all insane. They're tugging on the heartstrings. Oh, look at these guys. All right, this one's funny. In the pantheon of visual metaphors for America today, this is the money shot, tweeted TV writer David Simon. Oh, no. Isn't David Simon, didn't he do The Wire? Oh, I hope that's not him. Probably is, though. In response to this image of golfers calmly putting against the backdrop of a wildfire that burned through Oregon and Washington in 2017. Oh, the climate! How dare you play golf in this climate? It's ridiculous. And then these COP26, so the climate, the private jet conference from last year. We wanted people to realize that when scientists say polar bears might become extinct, the way they will die is through slow, painful starvation. Yes, okay. All right, this is heartbreaking. They're pulling on the heartstrings because they want you to obey. Obviously, they're never going to do anything about the climate because they can't, because it's beyond their control. That was just one with 10 slides. Egypt faces an acute water crisis, but it's still building a green river in the desert. This is from CNN Climate. What a joke. I mean, what an absolute joke. It never stops. Glaciers in Yosemite in Africa will disappear by 2050, the UN warns. It wasn't even that long ago that some of these national parks had to take down signs that said, oh, this won't be here by 2021 or something like that, and they had to take that all down because it was fake. This is just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, it's all the same, right? It's all just the propaganda to get you to obey, which is funny because Shepard Fairey is a complete, government shill. I don't know if he maybe was quote unquote anti-establishment back in his early days, but now, he's been painting these propagandistic pictures of Obama and, Orange Man bad and, doing portraits of Beto O'Rourke and all that stuff. So all of this propaganda is obviously to get you, into the same, invisible cage, right? Election conspiracies are disrupting the midterms. It's so predictable. I won't even click that one. It's another one from Vice where they're trying to make a guy in a MAGA hat look like an idiot because he doesn't believe that everything's on the level. Okay. Hold on, was there? Oh yeah, more climate. This is the one I wanted to go back to after I talked about Merrill. Please stop framing climate change denial as a matter of ignorant yokels disbelieving science. It's a deeply coordinated propaganda campaign bankrolled by right-wing owners of capital whose interests would be threatened by any legitimate effort to curb emissions. Treat it as such. So she's saying that the people who don't believe it are being driven by propagandists. So, I mean, I don't know. We're clearly living in two different worlds. I don't actually know how you can not cohabitate, but coexist, I guess, with somebody like this. So she's bought into every single little bit of propaganda and thinks that the people who haven't, who just want to be left alone and, drive their car and go to the gym and do regular stuff without being scared into submission all the time, they're the ones that have been duped by a right-wing propaganda campaign. Because, I mean, does she think that the right wing is putting so much money into they just say no, we don't really buy it. Nobody is running ads to talk about climate change. There's only one side who's going that hard with the the little kids and the sad pictures and all that stuff. So yeah, we had to go back to that one. I almost forgot because we're in the climate change propaganda segment. Yeah, that was the election conspiracies. Yeah, if you don't believe us, you're a conspiracy theorist. This is absolutely nothing, just a meme of Stacey Abrams and Beto O'Rourke from, was that Road Trip? What was the movie this is from? But yeah, pretty funny. It was funny the first time I saw it. It was a week ago. What's this one? What's Joe Biden talking about?
And you would tell the American people that inflation is going to continue to decline?
No, I'm telling the American people that we're going to get control of inflation. But what I can't do is I can't guarantee that we're going to be able to get rid of inflation, but I do think...
Of course not. Yeah, because it's all fake. Because everything he says is just a press release and none of it's real. That's obvious, and nobody... Well, of course, loads of people care, but the media works for him. So now we're getting back into the Kanye stuff. Shill, Fed, Op, they... extraordinaire. Like, when I say they, not like the they thems, but like, how DJ Khaled talks about they don't want you to have a bigger pool than Kanye. They don't want you to glow up. It's they. It's that establishment that wants to hold you down. It's that they want you to believe everything that they say. That DJ Vlad is, Charlemagne, Rosenberg, Envy, Ebro, all those guys are they. In response to Kanye, Michael Jordan's dad wasn't sacrificed. I interviewed one of the guys who killed him. So DJ Vlad interviewed a murderer, and that's how he's going to discredit Kanye. Give me a break, Vlad. Like, with your little Ukraine in the bio, I guess. Maybe he is Ukrainian. Not sure. This is a good one, too, about Kyrie, of course. Kyrie Irving is being duped by dangerous algorithms, and he doesn't care. This man is a millionaire athlete. I'm not going to sit here and pretend he's the smartest man in the world, but he's obviously good at something. And MSNBC over here just cannot stand for one moment that he won't buy into their propaganda. So he's being duped. He's so stupid. What a rube. He's just an idiot. It's like, dude, he just has a different opinion than you, and you're like, he's being duped. No, he's not, dude. He's on his own wave, and he's really good at basketball, so when he says something that you don't agree with, you try to pretend he's just the stupidest person in the entire world. This is another good one, too. Just another meme. Nothing super deep, but it's pretty funny. Gonna tell my kids this is how you get elected, okay? Pretty accurate, right? This is conspiracy extremism, like, to even think about this, right? Like, of course, it has nothing to... It's just about, grassroots campaigning, and Democrats are just, they're winning over hearts and minds. It's just not true, bro. Something else is obviously happening. More propaganda. It's going to be a nasty flu season. They just want you so scared, so submissive. Like, just don't live your life without us. Go get more drugs. We'll teach you how to shoot the street drugs, but then you can also come to us and we can give you pharmaceuticals. Just don't do anything without us, all right? Check in with us before you do absolutely everything. This is a good one, too. This is kind of in the same realm as the Kyrie stuff. It's like a guide to the GOP midterm candidates who should scare the shit out of you. So we're not going to tell you anything about these platforms or what these Democrats stand for or anything happening on the other side of the aisle, but we're going to tell you why you should be scared and how you should think. It's just, shout out Andrew, what does he say? Just picture the person Vanity Fair would hire, then picture the person they would choose to write about this. That's who you're getting political advice from. Okay, yeah, this is ridiculous. They should scare you. You should be scared. We're going to tell you exactly what to think, how you should think, and you should be scared. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, this like 5'5" blonde woman, she's so scary, she's so extreme. It's like, dude, she's fine. Okay, it's all normal. These are the people that should scare you. This propagandist, this Hollywood nonsense. Look at
You know why MAGA and Trump Republicans are so scared? Because they are outnumbered. The majority of Americans.
That's false.
New York, I fucking love ya. I'm obsessed with the whole fucking state. Long Island, stunning. The city, incredible.
I can't even watch this woman. It's so hard to watch. She used to be a comedian and then she just turned into a political shill. I mean, back in the day with Broad City, that was the show she got famous on, I believe. And, she had Hillary Clinton on, and it was political then, but it was kind of funny. They talked about Lil Wayne, and they smoked weed, and there was actually jokes. She's completely ditched any jokes, like 100%, and it's just, oh, Republicans are so bad, I'm going to dance topless for Beto O'Rourke. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Conan's sidekick, Andy Richter, is totally team cancel culture. Okay, well, that's corny. This is like, of course, it's from the Daily Beast. He loves cancel culture. Bring it on. Okay, for the most part, people that have gotten in trouble deserve to get in trouble. Okay, he's a comedian. Good job, bro. What a loser. Everything's still doing, they're doing well in New York. Drug raid uncovers nearly 50 pounds of fentanyl and heroin worth $7 million in a Bronx apartment. And, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. You can't talk about where the drugs are coming from, how they're getting here. That would be racist. But I just thought it was funny that this drug kingpin who's living in a bando in the Bronx wears Yeezys. That's very obviously like a Yeezy 700 box, I think. It looks like a pair of Yeezy 700s. So it was just pretty funny. How a viral teen app became the center of a sex trafficking hoax. And of course, the Washington Post is never going to admit to any sort of trafficking scheme because that's all just QAnon stuff. I don't need, can you even say that anymore? I don't know, but it's like anytime you talk about human trafficking, which I would argue Elliot Spitzer put on the map in New York, but it's a little diluted. Maybe that is a little bit conspiratorial, but when the governor has to step down because he's linked to, prostitutes, it's almost impossible to completely detach prostitution from human trafficking. I'm just saying, right? I mean, are we really to believe that every single prostitute in the state of New York is just doing it on her own free will? I don't know about that. I think there's a lot goes into prostitution, but I'm no expert. More scare porn about viruses and winter and stuff. CDC map puts 7 states in worst category for flu activity. So we're going back to the flu now. The flu had 2 years off. Now it's coming back and it's going to be bad. That's what they said in that other post. Oh, why this flu season could be nasty in California. Yeah, because people have been injecting themselves with pharmaceuticals that might not be so great for the immune system. So now when they step outside and, they get one little speck of, cold air, they're going to get sick. Here's more propaganda. What does this one say? Oh. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a deadly outbreak of listeria in California, 5 other states, linked to contaminated, it just never stops, contaminated deli meat. Just make sure that you remain afraid. This was the tweet that Kyrie put up. This is not enough, of course. He's not political, religious, he's just trying to follow God, but that is, that's far-right extremism. He's a bigot, basically. Looks like the Washington Compost. Look, I don't know about banning or whatever TikTok. I don't use it. I don't know enough about it to say it should be banned or not, but this almost feels like a slightly normal article from the Washington Compost. That's why. It's written by Marco Rubio. That is why it seems slightly normal. This is, you can't talk about this either. New research suggests pandemic stress may have changed menstrual cycles. Yeah, pandemic stress. That's it. This is ridiculous. This is how stupid they think we are, bro. Oh, here's a good one too. I mean, it goes on like this for days. A San Jose resident says he learned that his, along with several other Santa Clara County election ballots, were found in a pile of mail that was dumped in a ravine in Santa Cruz County. So I'm sure this is a one-off. Just like the one-off that we saw during the recall election of the guy sleeping in his car with ballots and weapons and drugs. That was a one-off. This is a one-off, and you just have to buy it. Everything that, this all makes sense. Everybody loves the establishment party. They're gaining so much popularity. Even at, are we to believe that after they locked everything down, told you that you couldn't leave your house, everybody was like, oh my God, they care about us so much, we're going to vote for them again? Or is it more likely that they completely turned the election system upside down and now suddenly they're so popular? Crazy. Lizzo announced as the 2022 People's Champion. I don't know. I didn't even know HuffPo was still in business, but what? This is a nonsensical award. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a advertisement for, I guess, pushing her. Maybe she has an album coming out or something. Let's see here. Top Biden immigration official resigns amid record border crossings. Okay, I guess that's a step in the right direction. Oh yeah, more climate propaganda before we get to the Kanye clip. In one state, every class teaches climate change, even PE. So we are really going to beat this into a paste. We're going to hammer this home. All your kids are going to be scared. They're not going to want to have kids, and they're gonna cry, and they won't be able to sleep at night because they know that the sun monster is coming to get them. And apparently, that's a good thing. That's basically what this is saying: is that we're scaring people into submission because the weather is going to get bad or something. This from
Kanye.
ABC 7 Bay Area. Looks like they actually created a Hulu documentary to convince you that Kanye West is a bad person. And it's pretty obvious why they're doing this, right? Because I know I spoke to people. Now, obviously, it's just a little sample. Didn't take a huge survey of millions of people. But when you talk to people out in the field, you realize that they can see through it, right? They know that Kanye's not sitting at home twisting his mustache, thinking about how he's going to eradicate people. No, neither is Kyrie. Neither is Dave Chappelle. They're not doing that. But that's why they come out with quote unquote documentaries like this, to make sure. I mean, they put this together to tell you that Kanye West is a bad guy. Why would they do that? Because he's got the ear of some people that they want to control. And even if this group that he might be influential to, even if they don't believe him, he's still basically just saying, dude, you can think outside the box, you can think for yourself, which is almost worse, right? You would much rather have them just blindly following, so then we know they're controllable. But if his message is, dude, just think about what you do before you do it, and I'm putting words in his mouth, that's obviously, he's never really said that, but he basically says believe in yourself, and it's not about you blindly following him and walking around talking about your pro-life. It's just about realizing that the establishment and the Matrix is a lie and they're trying to trick you. That's why they get rid of Andrew Tate and Sneeko and all these people. Even Kyrie, right? He's just saying things that don't agree with the mainstream established narrative. So we got to make sure that he's a bad guy. Ye is a genius. The problem is he knows that that's one. Yeah. Anyways, I can't even read through these. Should I? Kanye is Clayton Bigsby. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. It's trash. It's all absolute trash. More climate propaganda. At least they're doing their math right, I guess. It's 9 years now. 3 years ago, it was 12, so that makes sense. Just make sure that you remain afraid. Go get those, go get those pharmaceuticals. Test your dope for fentanyl. Will help you shoot up, and the sun monster is going to kill you. It's absolutely ridiculous. More fear porn. Repeat Rona infections can still be dangerous. Study suggests, it never ends. It just never ends. What if I got the booster? What if I got the 4th, 5th booster and I can still get like, nobody is questioning this. Actually, no, loads of people are questioning this. What am I talking about? I'm one of them, obviously. And this one too, I just thought was funny because she thinks this is a good move. And the progressivists, Pennsylvania, the spouse of your new senator is a formerly undocumented immigrant. Thank you. So you broke the law. Your husband can't talk or hear properly. And this is a good thing that he's now a senator in Pennsylvania. And she's obviously the mastermind behind this. She's the Hillary. She's the Jill Biden. And when you listen to her talk, there's a clip of her talking about a pool or whatever. And she's just so, like, when the pool, it's like, oh, this lady. So she's the one controlling. She's the one, an illegal immigrant, right? Undocumented, what they want to call it. It's illegal. She's the one steering the ship. And this is a good thing, apparently. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you would prop that up, but the people that support this are that stupid. They're like, yay, like, we love that you're not even really supposed to be here, and now you're controlling your husband who can't speak or listen. And yeah, the Senate, yeah, Orange Man bad. It's like, why would you even say that? Just shut up and you can control it from behind the scenes like you've been doing this entire time. It's ridiculous. Trans Awareness Week. So we had the last bit of trans awareness propaganda, which was funny because that was about black trans people. This is just regular one, ironically from the Women's March, which is hilarious because we're now told that women aren't even really real because of this sort of stuff. So the circular logic is just through the roof. It doesn't make any sense, but they keep doing it. NYC hires hundreds of sanitation workers to clean up city streets. Yeah, I'll bet nothing gets done. They're gonna be, collecting overtime from the comfort of their couch like the MTA employees in no time, and nothing will ever get cleaned up. It's just gonna be giant vibrating bags of trash with rats living in them and $6,000 rent for a 1-bedroom. That's what's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna get fixed in New York. And it's really sad because it used to be a great place, kind of like San Francisco used to be a great place until this establishment got a hold of it and turned it into their own little, cash cow and drove out the middle class because those icky people that don't need the political establishment are a pain in the neck, right? We just need junkies who are going to be happy for the crumbs, people that live in the projects that are going to be happy for the crumbs, and you don't even have to give them clean water, and they're not going to go anywhere, and then everybody else is going to live in their high rise because they're part of the political or perhaps the tech establishment. Oh, more Rona propaganda. Proven the Daily Beast. They just want you to be really afraid. Proven way to beat monster COVID variants won't work in the U.S. Just remain afraid. And, these are the last couple ones. More climate propaganda. New satellite will monitor climate change. Wow. Like, what, dude? You think you built this whole thing without... Exactly. The irony. This is all... It's all completely fake. Space alone is fake, but that's a different story. The rebirth of Kanye West. This one was funny just because this is kind of like what they want to do with Kyrie too, is they literally want to re-educate these people. Like, you have to, they're putting Kyrie through a re-education camp just so he can get back on the team that he played for, right? Like, say you don't believe this, say you believe that, go to this meeting, go to this training. And they want to do the same thing with Kanye, but he doesn't, for better or for worse, all of his deals were cut, so he doesn't have to answer to anybody. He's not a billionaire anymore after Adidas dropped him or whatever, but he's got plenty of money. He doesn't have to answer to anybody. Kyrie, on the other hand, he does have plenty of money, but I don't know if he's planned well enough to just drop it all right now. I don't know. He probably has loads of bills supporting his whole family, a whole gang of people, so he can't just get rid of the Nets at this particular moment, but they're trying to put him through the ringer. Obviously, David Stern and the owner of the Nets. But yeah, rebirth, re-education, that's what they want to do to these guys, right? John Voight. I was going to say Nick Nolte. John Voight. Only Trump can stop swamp. I don't think he even can. And then here's propaganda from Katie Hobbs talking about how Carrie Lake is an election denier. Everybody loves the Democrats. No, they don't, lady. This is complete phony, fraudulent. And just to bring it full circle, like Dominic Izzo said, and look, we can talk about how the establishment is one and the same or whatever till we're blue in the face. But the point remains that if a Republican Secretary of State were overseeing an election that he or she was running in, it took a week to count the ballots, and then they won, it would be a completely different story. Similarly, this is all fake, like the FTX thing, this whole crypto FTX scam or whatever that was being laundered into these Democratic coffers. Again, the political establishment is one and the same. I get it. Oh, it's so, I don't buy the two-party system, bro. Like, we all get it. But we also can admit that if that scam, which I don't know all the details of, I'm sure, we can look into it. It's a pretty deep rabbit hole as I understand it. But basically that FTX scam was going to Democrats. And if that was mostly going to Republicans, because I think some Republicans were in on it, but if it were flipped, right, if it were 80% Republicans and 20% Democrats, that story would be getting a lot of different coverage. And that's how this Arizona race is. If a Republican Secretary of State oversaw their election, took a week, and then won, it would be getting much different coverage. And let's end with this one. It's a little street interview of a girl kind of embarrassing herself. I saved this one a long time ago, so I don't really remember. Let's check it out.
What are your thoughts on Americans?
Stupid idiots.
Okay, so they're in like some foreign... Don't know where they are, but it looks like they're not in America, and she thinks Americans are stupid.
All of them. Oh yeah, you're I forgot.
Why are we so stupid?
They don't even know that Europe isn't a country. They think it's a continent.
Europe is a continent.
No, they think that Europe is a country. No, they think Europe is a country. Oh my God, I sound like an American right now.
What are your thoughts on Americans?
Yeah, so that's it. That's just a little bit of hypocrisy. Those are all the posts that I've saved from the last week or so, and I just had to start with that Carrie. I always get them mixed up. Carrie Lake, Katie Hobbs situation because it's just a complete slap in the face. So we'll leave it there. What as a very professional YouTuber, I have to say that you should you should share this video, you should subscribe.